My free hit is active ahead of blank game week 34, and in today's video I'll be revealing my first draft, including the key players that I think are absolutely essential, and also those differentials that I really think can help you fly up those mini leagues and of course your overall rank. So as always, if you look forward to today's video, make sure you drop a like and of course hit that subscribe button. Enough waffling, let's get into today's video. So game week 34 is causing quite a few problems for FPL managers out there, with naturally a lot of people investing in double game week 33 with Man City, Arsenal, Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. They now blank in game week 34. Now free hit gets you out of the situation alongside the wildcard, and thousands of FPL managers of course activated those chips. We'll touch on a wildcard video in a couple of days time. Today is all about those free hit chips, and of course if you don't know what a free hit is, it basically allows you to make unlimited transfers with of course the budget that you have available to yourself. Same rules apply, still 3 players from each team, but after this game week it will then default back to your previous squad. So it's basically a 1 week punt, and that's the big thing that we need to remember about the free hit chip, is that we're only focusing on the fixtures that we have in front of us, and we basically got to say to ourselves, who are the 11 players that are going to score the most players in the game week? Easy. But it is always not that simple, of course. And hopefully in this video, we'll highlight at least the teams that you absolutely have to prioritize in your teams. So right now, I thought it was really helpful just to highlight the teams that for me are non-negotiables. I've got to have some sort of investment from those teams, or at least consider them. So first up, we've got Chelsea versus Everton. I've highlighted Chelsea here, which is a little bit controversial, I know. So of course, the lunchtime kickoff, they always say never back the lunchtime kickoff. But we need to consider a few things here. Chelsea competing for Champions League, which is a big motivator. And you'll notice here that most of the teams that I've highlighted here have something about them which makes them a consideration. They're not just teams that are floundering, not really wanting to do anything. So Chelsea, Champions League involvement is a massive motivator. And Everton, while I really do think they're resolute, and I don't think this will be an easy game for Chelsea, do have arguably their best defender now injured in Tarkowski. We got the man, the myth, the legend in Michael Keane replacing him at centre-back, and we all know that that causes a lot of problems for Everton defensively. We saw that against Man City. I'm not saying he was directly involved in the goals conceded, but he doesn't help the situation. So I do think Chelsea are a good team to consider. However, I equally think if you just completely avoided Chelsea, nobody would have any complaints about it whatsoever. I think naturally the 3 that we'll be looking at is going to be someone like a Cucurella, is going to be a Cole Palmer, and then I do think someone like a Pedro Neto could be a really good differential if you want to go there. But we'll touch on what Chelsea assets I have in a bit. I've not highlighted Brighton or West Ham. I just don't look at the fixture and think to myself, that is one that I absolutely have to prioritise, one of my 11 spots in this free hit. Now, Newcastle versus Ipswich is one of those that I think is just the absolute essential triple up. Newcastle still vying for Champions League spots. They need a reaction after that 4-1 loss against Villa, and Ipswich are pretty poor, it's worth noting, obviously conceding 4 goals against Arsenal. So at St James's Park, I just feel like the triple up is essential, whatever capacity you want to go for, but at least one attacker has to be on your team, and that is going to be Alexander Isak realistically. But outside of that, we've got Barnes, Gordon, and of course Jacob Murphy for attacking options alongside that. And defensively, we've got Trippier, Shah. If you wanted to go somewhere else, you could, but those are the real names in the hat right now, and triple Newcastle is just essential. Now, I've highlighted Fulham against Southampton because naturally Fulham are up against a relegated team, but I'm not as bullish as other managers regarding this. I don't look at Fulham and think to myself that is a motivated team going into game week 34. And Southampton are a team that, of course, are now just kind of playing freely. They don't have anything to contend with. They could get battered against Fulham and nobody would bat an eyelid. But, of course, Southampton have been quite plucky over recent weeks and score goals. Fulham right now, you're looking at Leno, Sessegnon, and, of course, Raul Jimenez. But I don't feel like Fulham are as essential as other managers maybe are making out. Now, a team that I do think are essential is Wolves. 5 straight wins. Leicester relegated. I think they're pretty damn woeful as well. And I just feel a bit more confident about this fixture from an investment perspective. I think Nori, Cunha, Strand Larsen are all brilliant picks for your teams. Now, moving into the Sunday fixtures, a lot of people are looking to jump on Bournemouth versus Man United, and I totally get it. And I do think Kirkez is a great pick. I think Kluivert's a good pick. But when I'm picking my 11 players for free hit, we have only that many people to go for. The bench, I doubt, are going to come on for the 11 that you're selecting. Do I think Bournemouth are absolutely essential in that 11 when I'm looking at triple Newcastle, triple Wolves? We haven't even got into Liverpool yet. The answer is going to be no. So I think they can be included in the squad. I don't think they're essential in your starting 11. Man United, obviously, we're not looking to invest in. Now, this is the big one here for me. Liverpool versus Spurs. I've seen a lot of people just go for Mo Salah and that is it. I think that's a bit crazy. This is the game where Liverpool can win the league title. And of course, they won it previously during COVID, no fans around. I think this is going to be party atmosphere here. And if I had to pick a team right now to say to you, Liverpool can guarantee a win against a team, Spurs will be one of those I'll be putting in the hat. Absolutely nothing to play for in the league. There was another poor performance against Nottingham Forest there. Minds and the manager's mind is completely set on that Europa League tie, which of course is on Thursday. And for me, I just think this is a game that Spurs are going to want to just leave that stadium as quick as possible and just let Liverpool celebrate their title. And I think double Liverpool defence is absolutely viable. I think if you can confidently pick a midfielder alongside Mo Salah, then do it. But I think triple Liverpool needs to be on the cards. I just don't see anything but a comfortable Liverpool win. And I see no reason why Spurs will rock up to that Anfield Stadium with any motivation of what we've seen right now. Let me know in the comments if maybe you question that. And finally, this is the really interesting one. I think Forest versus Brentford, when we look at it on paper, that is just a natural by Forest players. But I'm actually looking at it from the opposite perspective right now. Now, Forest is still a really good team, it's worth noting. However, they have Champions League to contend with, which is absolutely the priority for them. But we also need to remember, Sunday, they have got the FA Cup semi-final. This game is going to be 4 days later. So that is not good preparation for this game. And of course, then they have the game week 35 fixtures on the weekend. So it's a very busy time for Nottingham Forest. And I don't think they have the squad to be able to manage both competitions effectively. And I don't see them rotating in that FA Cup semi-final. So I personally think we're going to get a strong Forest team in the FA Cup semi-final, a strong team against Brentford, but one that is a little bit fatigued. And on the flip side, Brentford have got 12 days rest in preparation for this and 12 days prep time. And for me, I just think that is one of those where Mbeumo is an essential on these free hit teams. He's going to be massively owned in teams outside of free hits, and I see no reason not to own him. The big question is, do we double up and maybe go for a Vissa? Brentford defensive assets, though, are completely off the table. So that's my current thoughts on the teams right now. Hopefully that was a bit of a deep dive. Now let's take a look at my specific free hit team. Okay, so taking a look at my Game Week 34 free hit team, and of course I've deep dived onto the teams. I want to state that I will be doing a specific video looking at the 20-30 players that we can own for a free hit. So I'll do that in a separate video because otherwise this video will be like 30 minutes long and we do not want that at all. So it's worth noting my free hit is active and this is currently how my team is looking, and I want to go through it in a little bit more detail. So we spoke about the teams right now in terms of investment, and I right now don't have confidence in that second Liverpool attacker. I think Diaz is fantastic, and if you said to me right now Gakpo was injured, I would be locked in on Luis Diaz. But played as a forward on the weekend, went back to the left wing. I want him as the left winger, ideally, but I can't guarantee that right now. So I've gone for the Liverpool double up in defence, and again, the same argument can be had about that of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Is he definitely going to play? Now, came on for the last 20 minutes, changed the game against Leicester, had that spark to obviously win them the game. Celebration was mad. I think with Liverpool winning the league, possibly against Spurs, I think they're like 90% sure they're going to win this league against them. I don't see how Trent doesn't play for Liverpool if he is fully fit. I think Bradley's a good player. I don't think he's at this level that everybody's talking about right now in comparison to Trent. And I just feel like Trent is going to play this game. And a lot of people are worried about maybe 70 minutes for Trent. Well, 70 minutes of Trent versus the other defenders available to us, I'd still take that. And on the flip side, that might even lock in the clean sheet and maybe a late clean sheet wipeout. You never know. I'm not as concerned about that when we're looking at defenders. So I've gone for the Alisson-Trent double up. As I spoke about with the other teams, people are going for Fulham right now away against Southampton. Fulham really nothing to play for, and you're kind of just backing on the fact of Southampton basically rolling over. I didn't really see that against West Ham in the previous game week, and Southampton are at home this time. I think Liverpool have got everything to play for in this game. It is going to be full focus on winning the league in front of their home fans, and I personally think this is going to be a comfortable victory. So Alisson and Trent are going to be the double up, but of course, if we're worried about Trent, we could downgrade that to Virgil van Dijk if we want to, or one of my first subs actually in Sessegnon. ironically, we're going from the most expensive defender in the game to one of the cheapest. And I do think if we were to get the news that Trent was possibly not going to be starting, then Sessegnon playing as part of a front three in that Fulham team against Southampton is also an amazing investment. And you would make the argument he should come into the starting three. But the two alongside Trent are going to be Shah and Aït-Nouri. So I think Newcastle defensive coverage is just the ownership play. And I've had Livramento, I think he's fantastic, but I feel like I just want to go for the guy that could score the goals. And Fabian Schär always averages around 1 in 7, 1 in 8 games. And he's close to that again this season. And we've seen him score in the last two, hit the crossbar from the halfway line. Yes, it's recency bias. I'm fully happy to accept that. But I do like the idea of just going completely differential with my Newcastle defender and going for Fabian Schär as opposed to Livramento. And the last one's going to be Aït-Nouri here. And again, I really do think there is a coin flip here between Aït-Nouri and Sessegnon. I think you could definitely make the argument of just going for Sessegnon and having that enhanced attacking potential. But I do also think Leicester are just pretty awful. They had a couple of chances against Liverpool, but Wolves are in a really good spot right now, 5 wins in a row. And while they don't have anything to play for and they are out of the relegation zone, I just see a manager that is trying to prove a point of Vitor Pereira and has really got the feel-good factor right now. And I think Aït-Nouri does have that capability of offering both clean sheet and attacking potential. So I'm going to go for that 3 right now alongside Alisson. And I don't really see that changing unless we get the news that Trent is possibly not a starter. Now, moving into the midfield, and this is where I really have an issue. I see a lot of people talking about the free hit for midfielders and saying how 5 isn't enough, they want more. And I'm the opposite. I don't actually love many of the midfielders going into game week 34. So Mo Salah is just absolutely locked in this team. I don't need to talk about him. And maybe you don't deem Mbeumo essential, but based on what I've spoken about with Forest, I personally think he's a lock-in as well. So outside of that, we've spoken about Bournemouth at home against Man United. I think that's a good fixture. But do I feel like it's enough for me to play Kluivert ahead of the forwards that we'll come on to? Right now, no. So Kluivert is going to be the 5th midfielder first sub. And the 2 that we're going to go for right now is going to be Harvey Barnes and Cole Palmer. So in terms of Cole Palmer, I get it. He's been awful recently. And having watched the Chelsea games, he's still trying to tick over in this Chelsea team. But it just feels like there isn't that thing going for him right now. But at home against Everton, with a Michael Keane, Branthwaite combination at the back, and Chelsea still competing for Champions League, I still think with me not really having much love for the midfielders, it just makes sense to default to Cole Palmer. And even if he's playing terribly, if he grabs a penalty, that is an added bonus in this game week. It's worth noting, of all the midfielders that I own, he is probably the one that I am least confident about, even though he's one of the most expensive. So he is by far and away not a lock in this free hit team. And the other one is going to be Harvey Barnes, as I discussed. Now, Jacob Murphy's been on the radar, but with him getting early substitutions and Barnes just playing fantastic right now, I feel quite confident going there. I think quite a few people are talking about Gordon and the impact of minutes on Barnes, but I still see Barnes getting significant minutes in this Ipswich game. And I think I'd rather have double Newcastle attack than that of defence. So Barnes for me is a lock until we maybe see some sort of press conference where maybe they cast doubts about it, but I don't think we need to overthink it right now. And in terms of the front 3, and again, I'm more excited about the forwards than that of the midfielders. When we look at the teams that we wanted to target, Fulham have no midfielders we want to buy. Wolves, no midfielders that anybody wants to buy. And the forwards at Wolves are fantastic. Now, Cunha is still a very difficult one right now. Fabrizio has been tweeting recently about teams in the market for him, Man United leading the way. Maybe that's going to coincide with Cunha not starting against Leicester, but with him getting decent minutes, I believe 90 minutes in game week 33, I just think he's going to play once again against Leicester, and I'm happy to take that risk that he does play in this game. And when you can have one, why don't you have both? And that's why I've got Strand Larsen also. I really do think this Leicester team are there for the taking in this game week. And maybe I'm being a bit too bullish on Wolves, but I feel like the Strand Larsen-Cunha combination is a differential that many other managers won't go for because they're playing a 5-man midfield. And I feel like this is a good combo. Now, Isak at home against Ipswich is in the same ballpark as Salah and Mbeumo. For me, this is just a lock. I don't think we need to overthink it at all for that selection. So really with this team, I think the only thing we need to contend with is, am I really being over the top with Wolves? Because Strand Larsen or Cunha could easily become a Raul Jimenez playing away against Southampton, which I think is a fantastic fixture. And maybe as the week progresses, I do change my mind on that. But as of right now, I think this team's pretty solid. Leno away against Southampton. Again, no Fulham defensive coverage, but I think Southampton could be good for a goal in that game. And I don't see a lot changing here right now, but of course, things can happen throughout this game week. More information can progress. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be really interested to know who I've missed out that you should think are included. Yes, guys, okay, that is going to wrap up today's game week 34 first free hit team selection. As you can see, I think my team's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the picks, but we know that the watch list is vast and there are a lot of players that could still make it in this team. And that's a reason to stick around on this channel, because I will be doing a big deep dive on free hit and wildcard players for you to consider for game week 34. And I want to really go deep into that one. So we're going to do a separate video on that. So make sure you stick around, drop a like, hit the subscribe button, all the good stuff. Any questions, put them in the comment section, and I'll see you real soon. Take care. Cheers.